The SS-120, first of all, is a 12-gallon sprayer. It's battery operated. You just plug it in and charge it. And we'll just start by getting it unboxed and putting it together so you can see what it's all about. All right, so we have a few pieces here. We've got our handle. And we're going to have our spray nozzle here, the boom, wand. We've got some checklists of what's all in the box. Inside of this box, we're going to have our charger. So this is just a 110 plug that plugs into the wall. And then we'll plug into this to charge the battery that's in here. Of course, we've got our manual. So this is our installation and our owner's manual. A couple zip ties, some bolts, and finally our nozzle that goes on the front. So we'll have to assemble some of this. So, all right, so step one is going to be to insert the handle. We're just going to try to line this up and get it installed, which sometimes is not always perfect. Give it a little wiggle. There we go. Put our bolt in. We'll get some wrenches to tighten that up. Then we can go ahead and tip it back down. We've got a couple things I want to point out real quick here. First of all, this handle just kind of gets tucked in here on the back side. Maybe I'll spin around so you can see better. But you just take this and you can insert it right in the handle. Nice little storage spot for it. The other thing I want to just quickly mention is there are two grease zerks down on the bottom there. I don't know if you can see them down there. So that's something that you're going to want to grease. Just hit them with a little grease. This is the Western grease that is recommended by them. So you just put a little bit of grease in there. Next, we need to spin this mechanism around, this is the spray nozzle piece. So we'll get a socket here and we'll get that guy turned around. You are going to want to be a little bit careful here. These are inserts. So yes, I'm using a power tool, but I'll take it a little easy. There's just this little tag on here that's just basically telling me I need to spin this around. Yeah, but so just for your information, it says remove the two bolts and rotate the bracket so the nozzle is pointing downward and tighten the bolts back up. So I take this guy and spin it around like this. And this is also where you can adjust the nozzle. So we talk a little bit in the manual about having a different spray width. This is how you adjust that. So obviously closer down is going to be closer to the ground. You're going to have a little less spray. You can slide it all the way up. You're going to get a little bit further spray outward. So we'll put it about in the middle to start. And like I said, these are just inserts into this plastic. So be a little bit careful here. You don't want to pull them out. Okay, so that's it there. So this is your nozzle, and it's pretty simple, really. It's just a fan tip, they call this, and you insert this in here. Once I get this guy out of there, like that. There's a little rubber seal that's in there, and if that's not in there, this isn't going to seal properly. It's going to leak. Okay, and that's how it should be installed. So now your fan goes to the side, left and right. One other thing we're going to quick do just to make sure, not that we've got something loose here, which I already see this one is just slightly not quite on there all the way. So we'll just try to get him on there a little bit better than what it is. I'm going to get a pliers and try to get him on there a little better. There we go. So now the hose is all the way on. Make sure this one on the bottom is, and it's also a little bit off. So let's get that guy back on there. That's on there pretty good. We'll just tighten them up. Finger tight here is good. Obviously, if we have a leak, we'll come back and address that, but just make sure they're all the way on is the first step. We've got the electrical to do yet, which is very simple. We've got our connector here. This just kind of runs up the back or in the front here. It's either way. And this just plugs in. There is a top and a bottom, and that's it. You're plugged in. You're ready to go. That from that. Charging. This is the cord we talked about. So a standard 110 plug. And you just take this guy and plug it in overnight. And that will charge up the battery that's inside here. So where is the battery, you might ask? The battery is actually behind this plate right here. So if you take this cover off, this is where the battery is at. Okay. So usually there is some charge in this battery when it comes. I usually just give the switch a quick flip to make sure it is working properly. So if you just kind of turn it on and off quick, you know that the pump is working. You could hear it in there. And now we just need to put some material in it so that we can test it out. Okay, so let's talk about just a few of the features on the spreader here, the sprayer. So we've got, first of all, in the back, right here, we can adjust this, whether we want to be using the boom, like the nozzle, however you want to call it, or if we want to actually be spraying off the front, the nozzle up here. Okay, you can adjust that, so you can pick which one. Go back to the boom for the moment. And then we've got this guy here, so this is the boom. So this has got a nice trigger on it. It does have a lock. If you want to lock it out, you can do that as well. And then you've got your tip here, which is adjustable. So you can close it off if you wanted. If you just open it a little bit, you get a stream, and then you can fan out to do a nice even coat if you like that as well. Great for sidewalks and steps, close to the building entrance doors and so on. Getting in the corners. On the handle here, of course, we have the on-off switch. And then we're going to spin this guy around and talk a little bit about the front nozzle. So this is adjustable. I'm going to tip this back here so hopefully we can get a little better view. And we'll grab a tool. So you can see here there's a slot in here. And what that does is that gives you the ability to adjust this. Again, be a little cautious. They're just riv nuts in the plastic, but you can see then we can adjust this kind of wherever we want it. And this is going to adjust how far out this is spraying in front of the machine. So then you just retighten it down and away you go. And of course, the last piece, right, is how do you fill it? And that is pretty simple. You just take this front off, cover off, and you're just going to fill it off the tank. Now, couple quick things about filling it. Obviously, the easiest way, if you're just getting started with this, is just going to be a simple tote. Purchasing that from somebody and being able to just fill it up. I've seen guys get really creative, and they'll have a tote, whether it be on site at their shop. I've seen guys with totes out in the field at different places throughout the city or different job sites, and then they can just fill this up, and it's really quick and easy.